Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remember it? So you don't have to. And welcome to another episode of Review Revisit. Did I do a title card for that? I can't remember. Anyway, I re-reviewed Pokemon the first movie because over 15 years ago, my style was very different and I had about 10 minutes to talk about it and I focused more on telling jokes than analyzing. Over the years though, my style has changed. I'm revisiting old reviews and going into more detail about them. Seeing how I just saw this on the big screen, it's been on my mind, so why not? Growing up, I was absolutely obsessed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was one of those kids that had every toy, saw every episode. If a product had a Ninja Turtle on it, it had to be mine. So, as you'd expect, I loved the hell out of this movie. Next to maybe Batman, this was the VHS I watched the most growing up. Well, no matter what, I will always love this film. I will admit, when I grew up, I had a difficult time figuring out if it was objectively good. I still loved it, nothing can take that away, but if somebody asked me if this was good for someone who never heard of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't think I could say yes. There's a lot of things that are very impressive, but there's a lot of things that are very awkward and don't make a whole lot of sense. I think Roger Ebert put it best, saying while he didn't like the movie, it's probably the best possible Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. In 1990, I think that's very fair. So now, 35 years after it came out, I wanted to go back and, yes, relive the good old days of Turtlemania, but see once and for all if I consider this objectively good or a nostalgic guilty pleasure. So let's concentrate hard to see rats in a campfire. Yeah, that's a side thing in this. Let's take a look at the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We open in New York City, and note to self, exposition is a lot easier when one of your leads is a reporter.
Crimes without criminals, an invisible gang at work. Who are we gonna call? Unfortunately, the police.
Sure. That's Judith Hogue as April O'Neil, and while originally I gave this version a hard time for not looking like the cartoon, I mean, if you grew up with this as your first love, so would you. She really does capture everything else about her perfectly. She's got the spunk, wit, heart, and most importantly, obsession with her job. I always said the big difference between her and Lois Lane is Lois did her job for the fame and to win awards.
Nobel Prize.
I supposing the biggest gun smuggling ring to hit this town in 10 years, and what makes the front page?
April does it because she loves getting information to everybody and is confident enough to know she can probably do it the best.
I think you know just as much as I do about this Foot Clan, and I don't think you're doing anything about it. I doubt very much that Chief Stearns is taking this possible connection seriously.
This is great! I must really be onto something hot if they're trying to kill me!
Lois is about the glory, April's about the story. Oh, and she wears yellow. Yeah, for whatever reason, you can change everything about this character, but as long as she wears yellow at least once, she's April.
Get away from me!
She stumbles across some robbers who try to mug her, but out go the lights and she's suddenly saved. She finds the weapon of one of her rescuers left behind. Damn. Oh yeah, even though this was released in 1990, it's kind of an unofficial 1980s kids film. Okay, it's not Return to Oz or Secret of Nim or anything, but it's shot more like Death Wish than a Saturday morning cartoon show and doesn't mind teaching you at least one new vocabulary word. Damn. If they were allowed to chain smoke in this movie, they probably would.
Awesome! Righteous!
I know everybody praises the turtle costumes in this, and honestly, they deserve even more praise. Jim Henson apparently had reservations working on this because of how violent it was. Lord knows he had little of that in his history.
What about my future? You don't have a future!
But you never would have guessed because these still look amazing all these years later. They dirty them up, they look wet and sweaty. Compare these to the later Turtle movies and you can see they did not phone this in. Imagining these actors trying to see through these masks and moving as naturally and quick as any teen would, while also choreographing fight sequences as precise as any martial arts fight that didn't have actors in pounds of foam and wires. As an adult, I see this as a really amazing achievement.
Give me 3! You got it!
The film only had 7 weeks to complete, and because every studio was too afraid to touch it, fearing it was too risky in terms of the effects, it ended up being an independent film. The highest grossing independent film at the time. But because of this, while the turtles look great, they broke down a lot. Which is really eerie to see. Like, these moments I've watched a million times are suddenly disturbing as hell because it looks like they're having a stroke. Whenever this happened, they just shot scenes of Splinter, who was mostly a hand puppet. Plus, the scenes were a lot more gentler and slower, matching his father-like persona perfectly.
I suggest we all meditate now.
Even if he orgasms when he meditates. What was that? The turtles are a touch different from how we knew him at the time. Donatello is certainly the brains, but he's not a super genius. Leonardo is still not that great a leader. In fact, he does very little leaderish things in this, but he does offer a lot of heart and sensitivity. And I guess they thought Michelangelo and Raphael were a little too similar in the cartoon, as they were both the lighthearted jokesters, so they made Mikey more the fun guy and Raph more the angry brooder. And this will carry over to a lot of future versions, as it does make sense, as he would be more the angsty muscle of the group, and it does feel like this lineup needs that.
Where did they come up with this stuff?
Gotta love when a mutant turtle in a trench coat says, well, that was far-fetched. We're also introduced to Casey Jones, played by Elias Koteas, who originally had a brief scene showing he's pissed off with violence in the world, so he adds more violence in the world. But in this version, they cut that out, so he's just a random grown man beating up misguided kids.
Class is Pain 101. Your instructor's Casey Jones.
Honestly, like a lot of the characters in this movie, though, the charm from the actors helps balance out a lot of moments that don't always add up.
How about a 5-minute game misconduct for roughing, pal?
Raph says he's too rough on the kids, and they get in a big fight.
God, I hate punkers. Especially bald ones with green makeup. Who wear masks over ugly faces.
I'll admit, even when I was a kid, I was thrown off that a giant turtle could fool everybody into thinking he's human by just wearing a trench coat and a hat. But after visiting New York, this scene here...
What the heck was that?
Looked like sort of a big turtle in a trench coat. You're gonna look out of here, right?
...is very authentic. They could literally see a giant turtle running around, even with a passenger who voices that turtle, and they wouldn't think anything about it. It's surprisingly realistic.
I have tried to channel your anger, Raphael, but more remains.
The film does take time to address teenage anger, and actually, I'd argue, that's probably the theme of the film. Splinter tries to understand and comfort a teen feeling angry and lost, but there's others out there back then, and certainly now, who try to exploit that anger and misguidedness for their own personal gain.
He poisons your minds to obtain that which he desires. He cares nothing for you or the people you hurt.
It was something as a little kid I didn't fully follow, but as a teen, and especially as an adult, I see the value in it.
Miss O'Neill, if you would stick to asking questions.
April pushes the police chief to do a better job finding the thieves, who are apparently inspired by Japanese martial artists called the Foot Clan.
O'Neill, get in here!
Timely.
Trust me, you'll get plenty of that in other versions.
107, a new record.
The head of the Foot Clan, known as the Shredder, though, see, she's getting too close.
Find her.
Silencer.
Okay, but can you stop stabbing our TVs?
This is why I need so many just to watch one show!
The Foot Clan follow April to a subway, introducing the first of many dubbed actors in the film.
We've been waiting for you, Miss O'Neill.
We've been looking for you, Miss O'Neill.
Attack! There is a new enemy. Freaks of nature.
There is a new enemy. Freaks of nature.
I didn't say that.
But Raph tries to get his side back and sees she's in trouble, so he rushes in to save the day.
She got jumped in the subway. I had to bring her here. Can we keep her?
Still less creepy than when Casper did it. April wakes up and gradually accepts her new surroundings.
Oh God, I signed on for another Halloween Town movie!
And they explain where they came from through, I think, the same camera I used to shoot my first review of this.
The little ones were crawling into a strange ooze.
Pizza! Pizza! Radical!
This is one of many moments of sobriety where I go, oh yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of insane. April finds herself getting along with them, though, especially when she says she has frozen pizza in her apartment, which, of course, the Turtles have an unhealthy addiction to.
Adrian! You killed my brother, you dirty rat!
April's like, they literally live in shit. Just laugh at the bad impressions. They leave her apartment with very odd hallway decor. But it looks like a member of the Foot followed them home the previous night, which that must have been a fun report. Hey, I think the Muppets from Jabba's palace are living below us. And they take Splinter.
Splinter.
They spend the night at April's as the following morning her boss, Charles, tells her to lay off the story as his son, Danny, was arrested for stealing and the police chief is using him as a bargaining chip.
It's my story, no way. I just had a rough night.
Well, let somebody else help you cover City Hall.
Charles.
Okay, one of the side effects of licking toads is you literally see toads. Charles has difficulty being a single father, single fathers being something you didn't usually see that much in kids' films back then, as Danny runs away to his hideout, basically the 1980s version of Pleasure Island. Which if kids turned into donkeys in this, it would bizarrely kind of match.
Full house!
What is the story behind that sign, though? Did a kid come in like, I stole something, and they were like, what the hell are we gonna do with this? Just throw it up next to the stop sign he brought in last week. We'll be a mix between evil TGI Fridays and Pugsley's Room. The kids are introduced to the Shredder, who looks appropriately intimidating, though sometimes the voice can be a little too manipulated. Like I'm talking to someone who kidnapped my child.
You are here because the outside world rejects you.
If you want to see Billy again, send $1 million or 5 crates of Archie comics. This one in particular if you have it.
I want you all to become full members of the Foot.
Yeah, I never really got what his endgame was either. Like, the cartoon was silly, but his goal was clear.
I want to conquer Earth!
In this, corrupt kids, steal shit, produce more metal GVS masks. I never followed it. Also, you remember those moments of sobriety I was talking about?
Together we will punish these turtles.
You are high. Where's the exit? Danny tells the Shredder he saw the turtles at April's place when he really should have brought up the Frogger living there. And the Foot kicked the shit out of Raph before taking on the rest of them. I don't care how often used in the advertising, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. If you look close, you can tell they use different masks for when they fight with fewer wires inside, hence why they usually keep the same expression during an action sequence. Again, though, the fact that they can do any of this in these costumes is mind-blowing to me. The sweat that fell out of those turtle heads must have been like dumping water out of a mop bucket.
California roll!
I'll admit the jokes can be a little hit and miss, but I legit love this line.
These guys aren't lumberjacks!
No joke! The only thing safe in the woods would be the trees!
What a little bitch. Casey joins the fight as well, and they fall into April's antique store downstairs, which catches fire.
April, it's Charles. You're fired, April.
Speaking of which, Charles fires April for continuing to cover the story about the Foot. Yeah, I think she already regrets that.
Hey, didn't they use this place in the Grapes of Wrath?
I haven't been up here in years.
Good lord, a New York apartment, an antique shop, and a farmhouse she doesn't use? The economy in the 90s wasn't that good. Hell, even the sewers look like a pretty decent place to live.
Our nearest neighbor's about 4 miles away.
Well, hey, you just saved yourself an 8-mile round tripper. You were fired.
Casey delivers the news that April has been fired in not exactly the most sensitive way.
Thank you.
No, thank you!
You're welcome!
You're welcome!
It's kind of like moonlighting, isn't it?
Grapes of Wrath and moonlighting? They really knew what 1990 kids were into, huh? I really like these scenes of them trying to recover from everything that's happened. I always kind of wondered if Avengers 2 borrowed from this. With that said, there are some moments that are unintentionally hilarious. Like, I never laughed at where they put unconscious Raphael until this viewing. Did they just toss him in there while they're unloading their luggage? Where are the beds in this place? Look, I know a turtle can be comfortable in a tub of water, but somehow I don't think the measurements check out.
Hey.
What?
Raph!
You're awake.
Raph does end up getting better as he makes amends with Leo, who he had a fight with earlier.
It's a Kodak moment.
We see turtles have the same second mouth that Xenomorph has, and we get the classic couple hating each other until out of nowhere they like each other.
I wouldn't ask for your help if you were the last thing on the face of this planet.
And I do mean out of nowhere. Like, most rom-coms have the couple finding something to connect on, but here they literally go from fighting all the time to this random massage scene. But to his credit, it is pretty steamy.
A little too much for Mr. Camera.
We then get the scene that I loved as a kid, but as an adult, was one of the major moments that made me say, I don't know if this is objectively a good flick. Leonardo meditates and within seconds can talk to Splinter.
Leonardo!
Splinter!
He encourages the others to do so, and Splinter comes to them in a vision, even though they never explain how this works, shown any moment of them learning it, or have Splinter say, by the way, if you want to save me, I'm on the east end of Lair Street. It's another in-joke, I know, it kind of works anyway. Help! But okay, last week I was talking about emotional storytelling with Snow White, where the logic doesn't matter, it's more about what your emotions want to see, and kids are much better at giving into that. While This film is certainly not on the same level as that. I think it does dabble in it, and to some extent, it does kind of work. There is a sincerity to this. You feel the heartbreak of them being separated from their father figure. It's not cynical in any way. Even though it doesn't make a lick of sense, the emotion does hit.
Gladly return with my final words. I love you all, my sons.
If you want to teach your kids about mastering mind, body, and emotions, show them Avatar. But if you want an emotional moment told in an emotional way, this gets the job done. To some extent, you could say the same about Shredder's vague plan, or the turtle's first words being pizza, or a few other scenes. It isn't just one isolated moment, so it kind of works.
What is it?
It's time to go back.
The turtles go back home and they find that Danny has been hiding out there since they were out. Yet kind of weird they didn't order any Foot Clan to stay there after they took Splinter. Casey doesn't like his new surroundings, though.
You're a claustrophobic.
You want a fist in the mouth? I've never even looked at another guy before.
I love watching this movie with people who haven't seen it in years being like, oh, didn't get that when I was younger. As the turtles dine on some leftover pizza.
Do you like penicillin on your pizza?
Well, it is Domino's in 1990. Danny goes back to Splinter, who he's been talking to, and he shares the story about where he came from.
I lived in Japan, a pet of my master Yoshi, mimicking his movements from my cage.
Even when I was a kid watching this on the big screen, I heard several adults laughing at this moment saying, okay, what are we watching?
His only rival, Uroku Saki.
He talks about how a man named Uroku Saki was jealous of his master for winning the heart of a woman. So after he moved to America, Saki followed them and killed them both. He even sliced off his ear before leaving. Much like this footage is slicing out my eyes. Yeah, I know this was low budget, but my retinas are bleeding looking at this.
What are you doing in there, boy?
Nothing.
Shredder finds out the turtles have returned, and he goes himself along with the Foot Clan to take them down. The turtles fight them off as Casey follows Danny, who's had a change of heart, and tries to help him free Splinter. They end up getting caught, though.
It's gonna cost you, Tinkerbell.
I still don't know what that means, but it makes me laugh. Casey gets the drop on him, but 22-year-old Sam Rockwell isn't having any of this.
We're a family.
You call this here and that down there family?
The film actually does do a pretty good job talking to youth at the time. Like, yeah, we'll totally be brainwashed by literal silver samurai, but once one of them loses a fight, this place is kind of lame now.
Hey, dudes, where you going? I ain't done.
The turtles fight their way to a curtain of New York where the Shredder jump cuts towards him, and he's too powerful to take on.
Yeah!
1, 2, 3.
Damn great.
I never did understand why they didn't just all rush him at the same time, but then again, it did lead to some good lines.
What point did we lose control here?
Maybe somebody ought to tell him that we're the good guys.
Also, Shredder just waiting in the background is such a power move.
The only thing I have on my schedule is killing you. I mapped out 3 hours for enjoying this. I'm in no rush.
We really should invest in guns. Splinter shows up, revealing Shredder as Saki and that he was the rat whose master he killed years ago.
Now I will finish what I began with your ear.
And then he goes out like a bitch. On the one hand, it is kind of cool that one calm move wins over all his anger-filled rage. I also like this isn't self-defense. He could pull him back up, but he's literally talking in great detail how his death is gonna be. God, I miss kids' films like this.
Death comes for us all, but when you die, it will be without honor.
Oh, and just to be sure, Casey also uses a dump truck to squash him. These are some cold-blooded killers. The police are told the Foot's location, Danny reunites with his father, and April is asked to cover the story, seeing how she was right about everything.
Did you know that Mae Williams over at Channel 5 has her own office?
And in case you're wondering, yes, every reporter in this is named after a month.
April O'Neil. Mae Williams. Exactly, June.
You can have a corner office.
Well, but she's also one of the highest paid field reporters in New York City.
Now you are.
Now you are? Did you see how much New York property she owns? Casey and April celebrate their sporadic love. The turtles literally don't say cowabunga until the very end. And despite me saying this is sort of an unofficial 80s kids movie, the one thing that clarifies that it came out in the 90s is, of course, the corny end credits rap.
Heroes on a half shell, they're on a mission. When there's a battle, got the enemy wishing that they stayed at home.
Nowadays we have mid-credit sequences, but back then we just had rappers singing the Wikipedia synopsis. poetry. So that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'll just say it, I have grown to like it more objectively. It's a live-action kids adaptation when doing animated adaptations was more common. The movie had to fight to exist because everyone saw it as too difficult and risky, and now every IP is made into a movie because CG made it so easy. And because the fact that Ninja Turtles has been around for so long, it does acquit it of most of its problems. I always had an issue if you never heard of Ninja Turtles. A lot of things in this wouldn't make sense, but it's like James Gunn's Superman. It's been around long enough you don't even need to tell the backstory. Everybody just knows it. And it really does capture all the different versions of Ninja Turtles up to that point, while still managing to have its own unique spin. It also represents what people liked about the franchise back then and will continue to like about them in the future, even with so many different styles and variations. I thought I remember a lot more of them quoting catchphrases and dated lingo, but I think that's more in the sequels. For any moment where the film falls short, it's constantly saved by the charm of the actors, the ambition of the effects, the passion of its style, and its determination to survive beyond the odds being totally against it. Something about this idea does carry on through the generations, and as the first film to capture for that generation what it meant to be a Turtles fan, in many ways it also delivers what it means to be a Turtle fan for future and current generations. I'm not a nostalgia critic, I remember, so you don't have